Welcome to Tune In Radio U. I am your host, Ruth G. And with me, I have the incredibly in your face and fucking amazing Amee Triscari, life business strategist. What she does is, in her own words, takes her clients and comes in like a wrecking ball, blows up their life. We'll get into what that exactly looks like and means in a second. She's an advocate of child protection and pro-choice, and I can't wait to get into it with Amee because we have some juicy stories coming up from her life, apparently, as well. And she's a woman after my own heart because she swears like a trooper, and I just love that in women. Feels like home to me. It's amazing. Amee, welcome.
Thanks. I'm so excited. Boy, you have like totally a voice for radio, by the way. Like podcasting is your calling in life.
I've heard that a bit lately.
Yeah.
So I'm running with it. I'm embracing
Yeah.
the shit out of it. And yeah, thank you. I appreciate
Love
it.
that for you. Love that for you.
Thank you so much. So yeah, so happy you could so happy you said yes. This is really cool.
Oh mate, I love a chat. Always here for a chat.
I got that vibe from you. We Amee and I met at a women's ceremony, and it was
I was super low key and quiet about it.
super low key. Yeah.
You
You
didn't
made an
notice I was there.
impact. You made an impact. A good impact. So, all good. But that was an awesome ceremony, wasn't it?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like amazing.
Yeah. Mind-blowing kind of stuff.
Mm.
All right, let's get into it, hey?
Yeah.
Can you start by telling us what it is exactly that you do, what it means to come in like a wrecking ball and blow up your clients' lives?
So I just have always had this ability to see you, like see you and what it is that you actually want underneath all of your like protective layers of bullshit. And your stories that keep you comfortable. And like, I guess I never learned to trust it. Like, I always thought that I was just a bit of a pretentious cunt because I'd go in and I was a bit like, whatever, that's bullshit, rah, rah. And people would quite often get like really angry at me and then they'd calm down. Like, this is in personal life and in workplaces, right?
Yeah.
And then they'd calm down and they'd be a bit like, they'd start coming to me for advice and they'd start coming to me to talk shit through. And, like, they're like, how do you know this? And I'm like, I don't know. I just know this. And I went and did like a lot of self-development work over the years, and it literally just unlocked this ability that I had. And then I kind of like downplayed it a bit because I've never really fully comprehended it. When I started a business, I started one teaching people how to use Pinterest. But what was happening is in the workshops, I'm getting down to like people were walking out with a whole new business. They're like, I'm like, you don't want to fucking do. Like, why are you even here doing that? You don't give a shit about that. What do you care about? Like, what do you care about? And we get to that and they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, how come you're not doing this? And it was just, I was like, what am I doing? Why am I teaching Pinterest? But actually what I'm doing is just helping people uncover what the fuck they care about. But in the process, blowing up their entire lives because the conditioning and all of that bullshit, plus their like security and safety and in what they know, they were like, I'm like, we can't have both. You got to pick one. Like, if you want to have this life that you get up every day and you're fucking so excited to live, but you want to stay safe and comfortable, like, you can't have that. What do you want more? And yeah, a lot of the time and then I leave them and they're like, what the fuck do I do now? Like, what, like, it's like you can't go, like, the Matrix, like with the pill, like which pill? And it's like, once you know, you can't unknow that now. Yeah. So yeah, like now I get to do that full time, where it's literally like people will come in and even when they work with me, they're so fucking sure about what it is that they're here to do or what it is that they want out of life. But when you actually start getting curious, and I don't go, oh, this is what you want. A lot of the time I just ask questions that get them to answer it for themselves. And then all of a sudden it's like, fuck, I don't even know who I am anymore. But actually they're probably more in touch with who they truly are than they've ever been in their entire life because they asked the right questions.
Yes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool. Who are your main clients?
Women, mums.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to have a lot of. I tend to work as well with really successful business women who, and when I say successful, I mean make a lot of money or really like, you know, their business, everyone knows their business, they sell a lot, like it's profitable, like all of that, but they don't feel like it's ever enough. Like they feel like there's still something else that they want. Like, you know, I'm kicking all my goals. I'm fucking amazing. Why aren't I happy yet? You know, like, why don't I feel fulfilled? Why aren't I content? And I'm like, well, because like on paper you look good, but it doesn't mean that it's actually what you want to be doing every day, is it? Or they fall into the trap of, when I make this much money, then I'll do more shit for myself. Then I'll change my business to work more for me. Because what happens is it's super easy because traditional business models are like time for money, right? You can only make money if you put in this much time. And I'm like, well, what do you want? Like, what do you want your lifestyle to look like? What do you want your days to feel like? How do you want them to look? Like, how much time are you working? Like, do you want to get to the beach before the fucking sea breeze kicks in? Great. That means you can't work from 11 a.m. Like, you know, it's like, it changes the way it all works. And it's like, well, if I only work this many hours, how am I going to make that money? And I'm like, well, how else could your business look? Like, what else could feel good for you? You know, how can you have a business that funds the lifestyle you want to live and breathe? Because you can. You have to be very unattached to the how, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the secret to life.
It is. Oh my God, it is.
Yeah.
It is. So I work with women like that, in short.
Fair. So tell me about the child protection thing.
Well, okay, so when I got pregnant, super funny story, I had a one night stand and on the same weekend, like, hooked up with an ex. So it was actually like super messy story. So I fell pregnant, decided I'm going to have a baby. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to have a baby. And when I was considering whether to have a baby or not, one of the things that I really was thinking about is, as a single mum, how much higher the statistics are that basically she's a target. Like, the chances are 40% higher if you are the child of a single parent family, that basically something's going to happen to you, right? Because of all the different like, it's so hard to word because not everyone lives like this, but basically, because if you have a relationship, you're putting them more at risk by them being more available to people that if there were two biological parents, they wouldn't necessarily be available to. This is the whole reasoning behind it. So I was like, if I'm going to actually do this, I'm going to need to be very careful about what I choose to do with dating, with, you know, how my whole life works. Because obviously if I got pregnant to a one night stand, you can imagine the kind of lifestyle I was fucking living. And I knew that it was going to mean that it had to change. And I found myself getting, like, even after I had her, and I cried when she was a girl. I just fucking cried because I just felt so scared. Like, I didn't know what I was having. And I was like, how am I going to keep you safe? Like, how the fuck am I going to keep you safe? And, you know, it's something that I'm very educated on. I always research the topics. I like to know a lot about it because I feel like the more I know, the better the choices I can make, right? Yeah. But what started happening is the conversations I was having with other mums, they'd like get really defensive about it and be like, you're over the top about this. You're like, do you know what I mean? And I'm like, how can you not want to be educated about this? Like, I get that it's confronting, but if you know these things, you know, the chances are you can keep your kids safe. And from there, it kind of really just spiraled. I was like, we need to talk about this. We need to normalize this, because not because I want it to be normal, but because it fucking is. Like, it's out of our hands. And as much as we don't want this to be a thing we have to think about, we fucking do. And it happens like right now. It could be happening right next door to you right now. That's actually like cold hard facts. That's not even me just going fucking nuts, like in my imagination. But everyone kept acting like I was going overboard with it. And I'm like, I'm not. Like, this is a real thing that happens. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. It's like, I know that I have a very bold, upfront, confronting way of explaining shit. Like, I'm so happy to come in dick swinging and go, right, like, and say things like, it's probably happening next door to you. And if you don't educate yourself about this, your kid is going to get attacked. And it's going to be your fault, because you're going to know the abuser and you're going to bring them in. And then all of a sudden, I've got everyone's attention. I don't care if they're pissed off at me. I'm happy to piss off as many people as I can about it, if it makes them just learn one thing, you know?
Yeah. I
And
mean,
just be aware.
absolutely. The statistics of sexual abuse, like childhood sexual abuse within family, is fucking huge.
Yeah.
You know, and it's such a taboo subject. Like, it's such a
Why?
taboo, and it's like, do you know, like, the reason that most adults are fucked up in their adult life is because something fucked up happened to them as a child,
Yeah.
and there's some form of trauma that
Yeah.
is now within them that hasn't
Yeah.
been processed, and now they're living a life, you know, they're living some sort of, you know, not all of them, but a massive percentage of adults that have had some sort of childhood trauma, you know, some sort of abuse,
Yeah.
um, have some, you know, like, have developed these um, uh, patterns of behavior because of this trauma that
Yeah.
do not serve them.
Yeah. And imagine if this wasn't such a fucking taboo subject. Imagine if we didn't do everything we could to keep the abusers safe, and children had access to heal that and move through that when they're children. So they don't have to like carry it around as an adult and live their whole lives unable to explain why they behave the way they behave, and have access to, mate, it's not you.
Yeah.
Like, this is you in survival mode, and you don't have to live like this.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
not your fault. It's not your fault.
Right?
It's
Right.
incredible. It's incredible how
Yeah.
many adults also think that, you know, they have really bad relationships or whatever it is, and it's all them. Like,
Exactly.
these
Yeah.
poor people that just have no idea, because it's such a taboo subject, because even in this, like, psychology world, it's like so little understanding
Mm.
of trauma.
Yeah. Right.
So little. It's fucking nuts. Like,
Yeah.
I've been reading a book by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh, I've got that to listen to.
Oh my God, dude. It's
Amazing. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, it's incredible. He's had over 30 years of, you know, um, research into trauma,
Mm.
into what happens when you don't deal with trauma, or when you do deal with trauma, or how you can deal with trauma now. And it's, you know, that whole psychological approach, of top down therapy is not enough. Like,
No.
it's not it, you know,
Nah.
like, yeah, to a certain extent, for sure, you need to fucking talk shit out,
Yeah.
but that trauma is stuck within your body.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
especially if it's happened when you're a child. So you've got years and years and years of doing what the fuck you need to survive, which is usually disassociating, right?
Mm.
So, like, I found for me when I was going through all the trauma therapy, like, you couldn't fucking touch that. Like, there was nothing there that anyone could access. And I didn't even know why I was so shut off. I knew I was, but I didn't know why. But doing all that top down stuff couldn't crack it. Like, how could you?
Same.
Yeah.
Years of going to psychs, going to counselors, and was it like 3 months with Holly?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
I did the same with Yasmin.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's just mind blowing, mind blowing. And people like Bessel van der Kolk doing the research, doing peer reviewed studies to make changes in the psych world, presenting these peer reviewed studies
Mm.
to the boards of this world, and then, oh, it's not enough. Oh, it's no, we can't
We
change.
can't because we're so used to the way we've been doing it for like the last 300 years. Why would we
Even though it
change it?
doesn't fucking work,
Mm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. It blows. It actually, I feel excited at the moment though. Like I feel excited about this.
Change times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the conversations and
Yeah.
the fact that people are so much more willing to go, right, I want something more than this, like out of my life. So therefore, like I'm going to start inquiring into why the fuck I don't have it.
Mm.
Why the fuck I can't push through, or why the fuck I keep getting stopped here, or, you know, and being so willing to take themselves on and then giving them access to complete fucking freedom once you manage to identify it and heal it and work through it.
Mm. And actually being open enough to check out other forms
Yeah.
of healing and therapy
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
You
Because
know?
there's some amazing shit. I think the hardest thing I found with it is I didn't know what I needed or where to go. And it was literally like I met Yasmin at an event. We're in a mastermind together and we're at an event and I just loved her. And I had no idea what she did. And she tried explaining it to me. I was like, I don't understand a fucking word you're saying. And she's like, well, let's just jump on a call because like I like what you're dealing with right now. I can work with you. Like we can move through this. And I was like, as if you can, like whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like I've done so many things and nothing can. And it was just, yeah, it was like just trusting because I met her, I liked her, and I was like, all right, you say you can, fucking go for it.
Yeah. Amazing. That's so cool. It is super exciting times right now.
It is.
I feel like, you know, there's a whole bunch of I guess, you know, spiritually minded people
Yeah.
just, you know, starting to wake up and
Mm.
coming out of the woodwork, and they're all kind of, you know, finding each other and then collaborating, and
Yeah.
it's a fucking exciting time, man. It's
Yeah.
an exciting time.
Yeah. And like, I don't even think like necessarily it's like spiritually, it's just people have this fucking wicked self-awareness.
Mm. Yep.
Where they're like, this
Agreed.
is bigger than me, like bigger than me. I need something else. And yeah, people are like who are kind of tapping into their gifts and their powers and like what they're fucking just naturally great at, coming together to reach people that they probably wouldn't have had access to prior to that, right?
Absolutely.
Because if you had have said to me that like Yasmin's spiritually minded, whatever, I would have shut the fuck down. I'd be like, not into that fucking shit, but it was exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What do you think is maybe the hardest thing that you have had to deal with in your life that has maybe made you more of who you are today?
Having my kid to one night.
I feel like if I ask any mother that, it would probably be the same question, same answer.
You know what? It wasn't so much having a kid. It was all of the trauma it brought to the surface that I didn't know was there.
Yep.
So it wasn't actually like, yeah, that's hard, but honestly, it's probably not the hardest thing I've ever fucking done. The hardest thing I've probably had to do is like face it all head on instead of continually bury it down, or when it came up, make excuses, justifications that normally looked like me going and getting like blind drunk or like really wasted all the time. So I just didn't have to deal with it. But all of a sudden it's like, you know, you've got a small kid, that's not an option because someone's depending on you for survival. So it's not just that. It's like all of the shit it brings to the fucking surface that you can't hide from anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm lucky I kind of came to that conclusion on my own because I don't want kids. So
yeah,
it's like, yeah.
I didn't either. Like, to be honest, like when people talk about like not wanting kids, I'm like, I really get that on such a fucking deep level. I really do. It's only because I kept getting fucking pregnant, and like, yes, you know, like, and it was really around the time around then because I'm like, you know, I'm preaching this whole thing about being responsible for your fucking actions and your behavior, and there's consequences. And like, it was a bit of a wake up call. It was like, this keeps happening because you're being a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't get to just go, nah, not going to deal with that. I'll do better next time. Like, it was like the third time by now. I'm like, dude, you got to fucking man up. You fucked up. And I'm not very much like everything happens for a reason. It was more like, take responsibility for your goddamn behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I know. So part of me is like, but by the way I was behaving, I wasn't behaving like someone who didn't ever want to have kids, was I? No. So I'm like, maybe I did. I don't know. Here we are.
Maybe subconsciously you were like, just leave it off. It's fine.
Yeah. Or just too drunk to pay attention because I'm like, don't want to deal with any of my shit.
Or that. So what would you say, are you living your purpose right now?
I am. Like, I definitely waver and go off track because I'm starting to really notice the self-doubt behaviors creeping in when they do, because, and it's like I was saying before about, like, you know, that ability to just be able to do that, but it almost scared me. Like, it's almost like too powerful to be able to see that in people. And the year before, I met this chick on Instagram and we got along really well, and she did human design, and I had no idea what it was, right? No idea at all. And she's like, and I wasn't really interested in finding out, don't really care. Like, whatever, she was cool, we vibed, that's enough for me.
Sure.
And she's like, I just need to run your chart. And I just didn't really click what it was, right? Because human design could mean anything. And even when she asked, she's like, hey, I need your birth time, I need your location, still didn't click. Like, you know, that it's like kind of astrology based. Anyway, so she runs my chart and she starts telling me all this shit about myself. And for the first time in my entire life, I just felt really seen. And it was more than that. She's like, so all these ways that you are, that you try to change to fit in to how you think you need to be, is the biggest disservice you could ever do, because this is how you operate. So it was like this full permission slip to just get up every day and behave and show up and just do whatever the fuck felt good, right? Which actually resulted in my business exploding, like, as a byproduct. Yeah. It just went,
love that,
like, so much quicker than I could even possibly comprehend or imagine or deal with, really.
Mm-hmm.
And when she was explaining a lot of that to me, like, as we went a bit deeper into it, she said that there's a part in my chart that I have an open, I can't remember what it is. It's like an open sacral, open emotional center. And she said, you are quite level-headed. And I laughed hysterically. I was like, mate, I'm a fucking tornado. Everyone knows this about me. And she goes, it's not you. You can actually feel what other people are going through, but it's enhanced. So when you leave the house and you're around someone and your mood suddenly goes up or down, it's not you, it's them. But because I feel it within me, I thought it was me. And that, you know, like, so when she's like, you're actually like super level-headed, like, this is your emotions. And I'm like, I'm like, and then I started paying attention. And it's so, I was like, this explains so much. But it was funny because she doesn't have kids. And she's like, so probably before you leave the house, you'll be here. And I'm like, but I never have that. And I realized why, because I feel what Havana's feeling. So just before she's about to have a tantrum, I feel like this swirling of anger and frustration and like irritability within me. And what was happening is I was feeling that surge. Then she'd explode and have her tantrum, and I'd have one with her because I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? But when I learned that, now I'm like, I can feel it swirling within her. So I start talking her through it beforehand.
Yeah, nice.
I'm like, okay, are you just angry? Great, go be angry. Talk to me about what's going on. Sometimes it's just she can't work out how to tie up her fucking shoelace. But sure, because she's so little, she can't fucking wrangle her emotions. Yeah. Anyway, I can do that with basically anyone. And unless people are super closed off. So now that I know that, it's a lot easier for me to go, wait, is this mine? And I literally just chant to myself and breathe. I'm like, it's not yours. It's not yours. Like even this morning when I was getting my eyelashes and eyebrows done, I felt this like, it literally just feels like your insides are going like this. And then I was like, it's not me. And then I realized it was her. So it means that I can have conversations with people that I like without knowing all of that, I would never have had access to before.
What human design are you, PS?
I'm a manifesting generator.
Fuck. I was literally talking to someone over in New South Wales this morning, and they brought it up as well. You've brought up a couple of different things that they
Yeah.
brought up as well,
Wow.
which is interesting.
That's so
But
cool.
they are a manifesting generator as well. I'm a
Yeah.
projector.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you know anything about them?
Yeah, you're like all wise knowing.
Am I now?
But also, the thing is, though, it's so much more complex than that.
Oh, it's
So,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
typically, if you like know human design well, and I am a very much a walking, talking, like manifesting generator, you can usually spot me anywhere because, like, I do very much live in alignment with my energy type, right? But there are also so many complex parts of me that, like, you know, the emotion, like I have a lot of open centers. So there's your profile lines, like your personality, how you work, how you interpret information, how you show up, like that. It's just so complex. So you could be, I have met projectors before that I could easily mistaken as manifesting generators.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have a lot of energy when they're lit up and on purpose, which is very like, you know, with generator types, but they're a projector.
Yeah.
And it's because of different channels. And I don't even understand the complexity of human design yet.
Me
like
either.
I love learning more.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Have you never explored yours?
I have.
Yeah.
It was probably more surface though. I
Yeah.
feel like, you know, I'd probably need to go.
Have you had your chart read?
No.
Go do that.
Okay.
It'll blow your fucking mind in a like, but in a way where you'll just feel the most seen you've ever felt.
Yeah.
And it's really, I felt like it was like coming home to me, and it meant so much. Like I've always been super confident, but there was still so much like chatter behind the background of why I like other people, why my family are all projectors.
Oh,
So
really? Wow.
yeah, so like it was like I just didn't really fit in with them. And it was like, you know, like with my sister and the way I am, and my mom, like my mom really struggled to deal with me as a kid, and she was a projector, and I have this big fucking energy, and I'm loud, and I know what I want when I want it, I know how I want it, and don't you ever fucking try to tell me what to do, because it, do you know what I mean? Like it's all these things, and she couldn't deal with that. She's like, what the fuck is happening? Like, how do I deal with this? You know, and it was too much. I feel like people having access to this is going to completely change relationships of all different kinds.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. It was, even when I did like the surface kind of read up of my chart that I did, you know, myself, it was very much like going, fuck, like that's why, like I do this. Oh my God. I thought I was just a lazy fuck.
No.
Like I'm not. I'm not at all. It's like, I have to, when projectors really work hard for stuff, it's like it's so much harder for them to achieve, to get things, right? So I'd just be like, fuck man, I'm just like, fuck that, you know, and it'd just be really hard. Whereas as soon as I figured out that projectors are just like, you actually need to work on your patience because things come to you when it's time to come to you. And I'm like, wow. And it, like, as soon as I figured that out and started opening my eyes to that, it was like a brick hit me in the face. It was just like incredible, because that's exactly what happens, you know?
And like, why have I been making everything so hard for my entire fucking life? Because we just didn't know that. Or like we knew that, but the rest of the world is like, no, it's not how it looks. Like this isn't how it's supposed to be. This, like, the world, 70% of the world's population are generator types. So, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're expected to keep up with us, and you just cannot.
Yeah.
Like, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just
nothing
wrong
you
with
work differently. You operate differently. And like, how much better is it when you just have the complete fucking freedom to do that?
Mm-hmm. It's like a beautiful peace just kind of washes over you. It's so
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And that's why having your own business is so fucking magical, right? Because you can design it so that it just supports you how you work best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to look like anything. It doesn't have to look like 9 to 5. It
Right?
doesn't have to look like Monday to Friday. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
look like, fucking 70-hour weeks or
No.
something stupid. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
so liberating. It is so
It is.
liberating.
It is. One of the things that I like, there were two things that I learned that changed everything for me. And it's that I have shiny object syndrome, and it's okay. I don't have to see shit through. I don't have to. I can get really excited on a topic and go all fucking in, and then be over it 2 hours later and be on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And subconsciously, I designed a business where basically, like, a lot of the time what I do is when I do business strategy stuff is I get really excited about something, give them all the ideas, or they're like, oh, I'm super into this. I'm like, oh, really? Because I was into that, like, 5 years ago. Here's all the research I've done on it. Have it. Here's some ideas of how you can make money. Have it. It's yours. Like, you pay for my time. It's fucking yours. Take it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd done that without realizing. And I was like, fuck yes. And then the other thing that I do that I have spent my entire life trying to change about myself is that I do everything. I do my best work last minute. I don't fucking start a project on Monday if it's due Friday. I'll do it 2 hours before it's due, and I'll fucking hyper focus and throw myself into it, and it will be the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Whereas if I start on Monday, I have to force myself. I'm like bored. I'm on Instagram. I'm on my phone. I'm fucking calling people. Oh, look, the dishes need doing. Oh, hey, let's go have a 2-hour chat. Don't worry. I've got nowhere else to be. But the minute I was like, okay, so if people are working with me, I can just set them up now. Yeah. So if it's like a group thing, or like I did a presentation with another chick who's super prepared, and I'm like, okay, great. So just so you know, I'm not going to do it till Friday. It'll come in probably 2 minutes before the fucking deadline, or 2 minutes after. Who fucking knows? People are actually pretty cool if you give them that, if you set them up.
Sure.
Yep. Like, that's all you have to do is manage yourself, but let people know what to expect from you. And then that's how you get to work with others. And like, my clients know that about me. Everyone who works with me knows that about me. And so there's no expectations for them to get let down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I fucking love human design. I talk about it all day. Love it.
It's so good. It's so good. I got all my like spiritual friends onto it, because everyone else would have been like,
I make everyone do it. I'm like, it doesn't matter if you're not spiritual. It's gonna know. Or I'll pull it up, and I'm like, blah blah. They're like, how'd you know that? I'm like, yeah, go pay to get it read. You're welcome.
So knowing what you know, the life that you've led, the experiences that you've had, what would be the best piece of advice you'd give someone starting on their, I guess, maybe personal development journey?
Yeah. It's probably just to fucking go easy on yourself, and that it's all perfect. Like, all of it. It's not, there's no right or wrong way. Like, you don't have to pick one thing and stick with it. Like, if it doesn't feel good, don't give up. Keep going until you find something else. And I think it's just letting them know that there's nothing to fix. Like, they're so fucking perfect and complete, exactly the way they are. You are right now. All you're doing is getting access to having the best possible fucking life that you can have. That's it. Oh wait, there's a lot. Okay, I have a lot.
That's it. Wait, there's like 20 more things. Cool.
Yeah. Just have we got an hour?
As long as you want, man.
I forgot now. I got excited and then I forgot.
It's okay. We can always come back to it.
Yeah, damn it. I was like, I had a good point. I always do this, and then I think about something else and then I lose it.
That's all right. You know how you remember it? You think about something else.
Yeah, it's always the way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is the quick fix. The quick
What's the
fix
quick
is
fix?
facing it head on, is doing the work, is doing this, because like what happens is it comes up and it gets scary and you want to naturally fucking bulge, like you want to run. But the reality is, like, you deal with all of this pain and this trauma and all of these feelings every single day. They're just masked underneath something else. So by you avoiding it, it's not actually not bringing up shit that you don't want to bring up to the surface. All it's doing is bringing it up so you can actually tackle it and deal with it, versus having to carry the load every single day.
Mm.
Like, you want a quick fix? This is it.
Preach, preach.
Yeah.
It's something that really blew me away, because I was personally, just quickly, my own personal story was I got kicked out of the church at like 16, and then just went like fucking shaved my head,
Yeah.
parties like almost every day,
Yeah. What church were
drugs,
you in?
alcohol, sex, Jehovah's Witness.
Same. Oh my God. Same. I left it.
No.
Yeah, my mum wouldn't let me leave, so I just wouldn't come home from anywhere. So she kicked me out at 16. I did the same.
Fucking God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm fucking blown away right now. What the
Right? As soon as you said that, I was like, right, bitch, you're Jehovah's Witness. Yes. So all of a sudden, you've got a whole fucking world of freedom at your fingertips, right?
Right. So what do you do with all that freedom? You do everything that you weren't allowed to do ever. Everything. And then you try and find new things that weren't even invented yet, right?
Yes.
Fuck.
Yes.
I'm blown away.
Yes, same. So funny. So funny though, right? Because, and it's so funny, like at the similar time, because it was around 14, 15 where I was like, because it's very much like, don't question shit. It is what it is. Like, don't fucking question it. And I'm getting super inquisitive. And I'm like, this isn't adding up anymore.
No.
And I want to do the shit that I'm not supposed to do. I don't give a fuck if that makes me worldly. I want to be worldly. That's fine.
Right? I feel like worldly is way better than this.
Right?
Worldly is way better. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So
like,
I lost my train of thought, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. Keep going. Keep going.
No. So much excitement.
I know, and it's wild. Right?
So basically, what I wanted to say just quickly was that I drowned out all my trauma from my childhood with the parties, with the drugs, with the alcohol, with the sex, with the all of it.
Yeah.
And I thought I just loved having a good time. Right? That's what I thought. For God, it was about 15 years. I did that. Like solid.
Yeah.
Solid party.
I fucking made up for a whole lifetime of nothing.
Right? Yeah. And it was so interesting when I finally thought to myself, this lifestyle isn't working for me anymore. And I know that I am meant for so much more than this.
Yeah.
And I am currently a shell of my former self.
Yeah.
And I really need to do something about this.
That's so powerful. Like, so powerful. I have goosebumps. Like the ability to actually sit there and go and make a decision like that. When you think about it, that's like double your lifetime. You've spent equal parts of your lifetime hiding.
Yeah. But the hilarious thing is that, we do all the drugs and the alcohol and the sex and the TV watching and the workaholic and the, whatever it is that we try and use to drown out our shit. And, we do it for so long thinking, like we know we're having a good time and it's okay. And everything is good when I'm having a drink or when I'm having a smoke or when I'm fucking snorting a line or whatever the fuck it is. And when really the easiest thing we could have fucking done is sat there and sit through it and be with it, and whatever comes up, Just fucking be with it and love yourself and be kind to yourself
Yeah.
and go and feel it through to the other side, because that is where, like, on the other side of that is where you're going to find that the
Yeah.
real happiness, the real joy, the real contentment within yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
the alcohol, not the having a drink after every day of work, because that is the only way you know how to relax.
Oh, mate, I'd just get up in the morning and smash like 5 tones before I even went. I was like, I'm not doing this straight. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I used to do brekkie cones as well. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it just depended what I'd done the night before. And like, because I had like
Yeah.
a pretty solid meth habit for like 6 years. And I used to go to
Yes.
go to work fucked. And then I'd be coming down like, you know, after 6-day bender. And then I just have to get stoned to be able to show up and work. And because I was so high functioning, I'm like, well, this isn't a problem. Like, I'm still earning money. Like, I'm still doing all the respectable things.
I know, right? It's
Yeah.
interesting how so many people are high functioning addicts.
Yeah.
That, you know, they go to work every day, you know, they come home, they have a family, they might not have a family, but like partner or whatever, they might have kids, you know, like they do all the things that, you know, from the outside look normal and respectable and all the rest, but really they're fucking dying inside.
Yeah. Like actually killing themselves as
Yeah.
well as all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on all the levels. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It makes me so sad. And I think this is why, like, when I said, like, it brought up all of my childhood stuff, having Havana, because I can see all the things that I did and why I did them, and the void that I thought it was filling, which actually resulted in, because of the situations I was putting myself in, so much trauma, like so much extra trauma on top of my trauma, because I'm now like fucking at parties, legless, like barely coherent. And like, it's like, there's no secret what fucking guys are like. Like, they're so happy to stick their dick in anything. They don't care if you're awake. Like, you know, like there was so many instances. And like, I wanted to basically, like, the minute I moved out, I was like, fuck, I can't wait to have sex. Like, I want to find out what this sex thing is. And like, there's, I read this book recently, and this is what kind of triggered a lot of the stuff where I had to start seeing, yeah, I think I was in the middle of seeing Yasmin, so it worked out quite well. And it was called My Dark Vanessa, and it's about a teacher who grooms a student, and she's 15. And I'm reading it, and I'm like, this is how I lost my virginity. Like, it wasn't a teacher, but it was a much older guy. And as I still didn't realize the extent of it all. Like, it really fucked me up. I knew that much. But when I'm reading this book, I'm like, this is exactly what happened, except it wasn't a school environment. It was outside of that. And it's like, you know, and then once like I got a bit too old for him, I was gone, and then we'll move on to the next one. And it was so like, and I was just such a mess after that, because I'd left the only life that I knew of being a Jehovah's Witness. I knew I didn't want to go back to that. But this was fucked. Like, what do I do? I had no skills, like nothing, no emotional awareness, like no tools at my disposal, or even anyone to talk to about it. You know, like, because I thought I was in this like really loving relationship with a guy who like really understood me and loved me. Like, I thought I was in love, and now then I'm reading this book and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, this was all his plan from the beginning. Like, this is textbook shit, you know? And then all of a sudden I'm at work with this chick, and she's 21, and I was living in Rockingham. Like, you're from Perth, you get the fucking Rockingham. So I'm now living in Rockingham, and they're all fucking crackheads. So they're like, come party with us, come try this. And I'm like, oh, wait, hang on, I don't care so much about this, because I'm ending up in like parties with guys that have just gotten out of jail and are like heroin dealers. And it was like, when I look back now, it scares the fuck. I'm like, how the fuck are you alive? Like, how are you alive?
I hear you, sister. I hear you. I hear you.
And I think when I got pregnant, it's all of this that I'm thinking about. I'm like, how can you bring a child into this world? Like, that's why I didn't want to have kids. How the fuck am I going to bring someone into this world and keep them safe? Like, how? And that's like when they were like, oh, it's a girl. And they like shoved this tiny vagina in my face, and I just cried. I was like, how am I going to keep you safe? Like, how, without being overbearing and without giving you all the rules that I had growing up and giving you enough freedom? And how am I going to give you the tools that you need to be able to handle anything life throws at you? Because it wasn't like, how am I going to keep you safe anymore? It's all changed in my head now. It's like, no, I need to fully fucking equip you. Because something is going to happen, because I can't control everything. And it might not happen when you're a kid, but it might happen when you go out in the world, like when I did. And that was like the beginning of many fucking horrible, horrible, horrible situations I've been in. And yeah, so now it's like, fuck, like I have to go and deal with my shit. So I've got the tools that I can now give you while you're growing up. Like, to me, that's the best thing I can fucking do to be a mum, because I don't want her going out in the world going, oh, fuck, like, sweet and innocent. Like, of course I want her to be like that, but that's not realistic. She needs to still have that outlook of anything's possible and I'm safe and I'm loved, but also resilient as fuck, you know? Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's why the child protection stuff comes into it so much for me too, because I feel like by refusing to talk about it and refusing to confront the uncomfortableness of it, you're sending your kids out like sitting fucking ducks, you know? And that to me is the most irresponsible thing you can do as a parent ever.
Absolutely. I agree. And really interesting that as a Jehovah's Witness, I don't know like what like necessarily your relationship with your parents were like, but we, like, my mum didn't equip me with information, you know, about sex or anything like that. And then because of the religion, like, because they were old school Europeans on top of that, right? Like they're like, they could have been my grandparents easily.
Yeah.
And you know, so they had that old school mentality, European old school mentality. So that's like adds another layer on top of the whole Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, of course it does.
And then so everything was kind of like, you know, like protect her from stuff by not talking about it, right? Which is the worst thing that you could do. And then in the church as well, the sex is bad unless you're married to the opposite sex.
Do not masturbate.
Do not masturbate. Oh my fuck. Wow, I broke that one real early.
Same.
Early.
Same. That's why it's such a like not a taboo subject in our house now. And she's 5 and people like that's inappropriate. Great. I'm not fucking encouraging it, but I'm not talking like it's a dirty, disgusting thing. No.
Because it's not. It's fucking normal.
Exactly.
And also too, in the church, like the church was littered with children playing feely games with each other in secret, right? Yes. And this is where the shit goes downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah? This is like, you think you're protecting your children by fucking not talking about this shit? You are doing them the biggest disservice.
Yeah. Because they're going to go find a way to fucking learn about it. They are.
And learn about it in a really fucked up way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you have sex with really shitty people in really shitty situations, and you fall for people that are just fucking using you. Yeah. And, you know, all that fucking fucked up shit. Yeah. You know, like religion, man. Oh my God. Oh my.
There are so many things I have to say about it. It ultimately is just control, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Religion is control. It's like, I can make you do whatever the fuck I want because of this little black book that you have to live and breathe by. And
fear, man. It's like controlling everyone by putting literally the fear of God.
It is. And that never, ever sat right with me. Like, if it's all love-based, none of this feels love-based. It feels like I'm in trouble all the time and you're angry at me. And, you know, if I do any of these things, I'm going to die. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, and...
like, not even an exaggeration. I'm actually...
No, like, that's actually, you're going to die. Like, during Armageddon, you're dead. You get nothing. And something else I've noticed, I don't want to talk too much about this because, like, whatever. My family aren't one now, but my mum's mum is. We argue a lot. I have a really hard time being around her because she's so like, you know nothing, you're stupid. And I'm like, dude, all you know is this. Like, that's it. I know the world. Like, you know nothing.
Yeah.
Is that there's a mentality because they think if you do all the right things, you don't actually have to live right now. Because if you just do everything right, you get to come back. Like, so for those of you that don't know, Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in heaven. They believe that the earth is going to come back as a paradise. And if you're good, you will be in that paradise. So there's this mentality that breaks my fucking heart where people don't live life. They tick boxes because they're waiting.
It's my
for,
mom. My mom
oh,
was fucking like,
I'm like, you
hey.
missed out on a whole big, beautiful, wonderful, heartbreaking, sad, glorious life.
Mm-hmm.
Because you believe so strongly in this. Like, I can't comprehend it. Like, I can't comprehend why you wouldn't encourage people, or like why you wouldn't like make it like go and live. Like, go and live your best fucking life. Okay, mate, let's just say all of that's true. Let's just say they're all going to come back. Like, why would you not go out and give it your red hot go right now? Because it's not going to be like this later. Sure, there's shit stuff. There's a lot of fucking great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about that, is it? It's
No.
like fear. I think it's why I get so.
What else? I was always like, paradise earth and you live forever. Okay.
Boring.
So what happens after you know how to do everything and, like, and then what?
Yeah.
You just keep living.
Yeah.
And then what? And then you
Yeah.
just keep living some more. I
Yeah.
think I'd want to die.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I'd want
like,
it to end at some point.
yeah. And at what point is there like no more people? Like, are we like, is there going to be another, like, do you know what I mean? I had so many questions about it, but I feel the same way when people are like, oh, imagine the technology we live forever. I'm like, oh, fuck no.
It's not appealing. It's not an
No.
appealing thought.
I'm like, yeah.
When old people have lived really enriching and fulfilling lives, and they're like, okay, I'm good to go now.
Yeah.
And they're like less than 100 years old. It's like,
Yeah.
well, imagine having to do that times 50.
Oh, fuck that. And
But
like, yeah, it's not appealing at all. Yeah, I think for me, all I really want, like for myself and for everyone else, is to have that such a full life that they're like, if I died right now, it'd be okay. Like, I'm not going to be like, fuck, full of regret, but I didn't do this and this person's not going to know this. And what if I had, like, I just want everyone to go balls to the wall, like, this is it. Because that gives you permission to be brave, right? It gives you permission to show up and maybe defy authority or break the fucking rules and do something no one else has been done. Because every time that shit happens, something amazing comes from it.
Absolutely. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I think we know that because we came from such oppressive sort of environments. And when we knew that because it didn't sit right, we broke the rules and something beautiful did come from it. I don't think everyone has that privilege.
No.
I don't. People that come from really nice familial environments, and they grow up thinking that this is life, this is cool. I got mum and dad and granny and granddad, and I got my sisters and brothers, and I go to work now, and I've got my own family, and everything's hunky dory, and like they don't know that life is not about just. Well, I mean, you know what? If they're happy, they're happy.
Yeah.
That's fucking
I'm
great.
going to say some people, that's all they want. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine the other day where it's like, some people need rules. Like when the mask rule came in, some people would have frothed that so hard. Wait, I know. I was like, yeah, I'm not even talk about how fucked up my headspace was, which I realized after having a conversation last night with one of my friends who's a Vedic astrologer. She's like, I struggled because I did wear the mask, like I did it to do school pickup and that, but like something within me was fucking raging about doing it. But there were people that loved that. They love having such clear, simple direction to follow. And I feel like, and this is why I'm not all like Jehovah's Witness religion is the devil, because I think for a lot of people it actually provides that
Structure.
and the structure and what they need so that they can remove all of the basically the decision-making process away from them. Like, you just tell me what to do, because and like, don't get me wrong, I do probably think that this is some kind of deep-rooted ancestral trauma fucking shit going on to be like that. But for them not to have access to anything else, it's probably a safer place for them to be in getting direction, because at least they're not hurting anyone. They're not hurting themselves, you know? Yeah.
To a certain degree. I think
Yeah.
they're hurting themselves in a way where they're not exploring their full potential.
Yes. Yeah.
But absolutely. I get it. Because, like I said, my mum is like to a T. You know, she loves the structure. And for her, the church is her savior. Like, literally.
Of course it is.
It's her savior, and it's what keeps her safe, and God is what keeps her safe. And, you know, she has her people around her. And, the,
your mum also grew up in a time, especially being European, where, you know, like, you had to go and get a husband to be safe. Like, you had to. Otherwise, the outcome was like so fucking bad for you. You know, like, it's so this probably gives her like everything. She's probably like had fear instilled in her since fucking birth.
Dude, she grew up. Her and her younger sister got put in a nunnery when she was 5 years old.
Yeah.
They grew up in
Yeah.
a shitty backwater town nunnery where they were starving, and the nuns were horrible.
Yeah.
And until she was 18, and then she left. But she had a really shitty upbringing. Like, so there's so much trauma for her.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. My family, my dad's side are Sicilian. Like, my pop fled during the war to Australia at 14, so he could come here and make money to send home.
14,
you know? Yeah. 14. He had to leave home, sail on a boat for 3 fucking months to come to a country where you got treated like a piece of shit on a shoe. Because let's not forget, Australians are not very welcoming. We are racist as fuck.
Yes, we are.
To come and do like back-breaking labor to pay for his family to be able to eat in another country. And, you know, like, this is the side that weren't Jehovah's Witnesses, but they still had very firm belief structures outside of that. Like, this is how things are done.
Yeah.
And you do not fuck with this. And I really struggled with that side too, because I was pissing people off no matter what I did. I was disappointing someone. Someone was angry at me. I was letting them down. I'm the oldest grandchild as well. But because I have a vagina, I probably got away with it a bit more. If I had been a guy, it would have been a lot harder.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, like, so many decisions I've made, they can't, and my pop's not here anymore. And I look at my nan and I'm like, you haven't lived. You are still healthy enough right now to go and live outside of all of this. Like, your life, you've spent your entire life being of service to making another person happy. Go and make you happy. And do you know what she says to me? I just can't wait to die. Because for her, this is such a, like, I just, after years and years and years and years and years and years and years of it, like, she speaks up every now and then, but she just, it makes me sad. I'm like, if you could have anything you wanted right now. Like, okay, you're not as agile as you probably were in your 50s, but fuck it. Like, anything's possible for you. And she's like, can't. We'll just sit there and watch Netflix, won't go and make friends. Like, you know, her mum told her that all she needed in life was her checkbook and her family. And it makes me really sad. Like, it makes me so sad. I feel like yes, you've had family and you've had all this, and, like, you know, like, you can kind of tick everything off. You had, like, a good life, but you haven't had a great one. You could. It's still available to you, but just can't. And I also realized recently that I've spent a huge part of my life trying to do shit to keep her happy or hide the parts of me that piss her off. And then, you know, like even when I told her I was pregnant with Havana and I was having a baby, she's like, get rid of it. Like, you're not married. You don't even have a boyfriend. Get rid of it. And when my pop died, Havana was her savior. Like, her relationship with Havana was amazing. Like, if she will tell you, it got her through it because she had this like beautiful little girl who just loved being around her and just brought so much life into the room. And I was like, nah. And then I was too scared to even tell her that I didn't know who the dad was. And all the situations I ended up in were to not piss her off. And I'm like, some of the worst fucking life choices I've made are to keep you happy. And like, how insane is that? I'm still like such a rule breaker, but I live my life according to not trying to piss off this 85-year-old woman who, like, really at the end of the day, doesn't care that much. Like, it pisses her off because I think she just regurgitates what she knows and what she thinks that may not even necessarily be real opinions, like really what she truly thinks.
Yeah.
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 Crazy, hey?
So nuts.
So nuts.
All right. Where to now?
Yeah, I know, you're like, wow.
How do I cop that? Fucking hell. Okay. What do you think is going on in the world right now?
I think there's a lot of fucking fear. There's so much fear. And I think that it's getting manipulated and fed by the media, by everything to control people. And I think that there's like an awakening happening where people are starting to go, hang on. Like, I know, and they're like, you know, it's like when everyone's walking this way and they're starting to walk that way. And people are starting to, like, you know, and not in like a pretentious way, in a like, or self-righteous, in a like, hey, like, come on, like, we can do this together, like a really loving, supportive way. But I think the people that are scared are kind of what's actually making the world scary, because it's how they're reacting. And I know that with like, and probably the people, like, you know, like when I was talking about my nan, you talking about your parents, like, they're probably the ones we need to be the most fearful of, because you put back them into a corner when they're getting like all this media and all of this shit, like, be scared, this, like, you're all going to die, like everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know how people are going to react when they're scared and they're cornered. So I think that there's a lot of control happening based around that. But at the same time, there's like all of this beautiful stuff where people are like, you know what, like, you don't, like, I know that you know that something's not right, and that's okay. Like, maybe it's this, maybe it's this, maybe it's this, but there's no right or wrong. Like, let's go explore it. Like, what if we push back a little bit together? But yeah, I think like even in the like spiritual communities, there's still they're still acting from a place of fear where they get fucking nasty about it as well. Like cancel culture and all of this shit, which to me is just fear. Yeah. That's what I really like. Every time I look around and like when I'm out, and it's like, because I can feel it a lot of the time. Like, I can feel how fucking scared and distraught people are because they don't, like, they're scared because they're not super stoked with what's happening, but they don't know what to do about it. But it's like, if I speak up, I get fucking attacked. And yeah, but I really believe that there's a shift happening where it's like, hang on, like, we can all kind of come back to a place of like unconditional love and see people in where they are right now and what they're feeling, and that be okay. But also, hey, like, you want to do something about it, here's how. Because that's all people really need, is like someone to outstretch a hand and go, come with me, come try this. Yeah.
Beautiful. Amee, I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah.
You have been a phenomenal guest. I have loved this conversation so much for so many different reasons. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Where can people find you if they want to look you up, get their lives completely blown up?
Yeah, okay. Come see me on Instagram. It's just at Amee Triscari. It's spelt really weird. It's like AMEE. Triscari is how you say it. Otherwise, ameetriscari.com. I am on YouTube as well. But Instagram, come DM me and let's talk about it.
Amazing. Thanks, Amee. You've been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.